Hi, and welcome to this lesson. And in this lesson, we're going to be doing some discovery work to do with right angle triangles. You will need to pause the video at certain stages to make some notes. I will inform you where that will be necessary. To start us off, what I want you to do is have a go at this starter, and when pause the video, and when you're done, press play to see the solutions. Okay, welcome back, and use the solutions to the starter. So 6 times 6 is 36, that's 6 squared. 4 squared is 4 times 4, so that's 16. 10 squared is 10 times 10, 100, and so on. You can mark the rest of those questions there. Okay then, so what's so special about a right angle triangle? Well, first of all, in a right angle triangle, we can see that we've got the right angle here. That's what tells us this triangle is right angled. We can label the sides A, B, and C. We always label the longest side C. And in this case, here you see it's always opposite the right angle. So C can always be found by going to the right angle and going to the opposite side. Just a bit of information for you. The right angle triangle longest side is always called the hypotenuse. So sometimes you might hear this side here referred to as the hypotenuse. Okay, what I want you to do now is I want you to get a piece of line paper, and the 4 triangles that you can see here on this slide, I want you to use a ruler, and I want you to draw them accurately to the correct size. So just to give you a bit of advice here now on this first triangle, on your line paper, you need to measure the bottom edge along the line exactly 4 centimeters. Then try and get your vertical height drawn next at exactly 3 centimeters. And then what I want you to do is when that's drawn accurately, I want you to measure this length here with a ruler. And I would want you to measure it to the nearest whole number. It's very difficult to draw these exactly spot on. So you're going to be measuring, drawing each one to the exact measurements that are on the diagrams. And I want you to measure and calculate the length C in each of these diagrams with your ruler. Now, when you've done that, okay, I want you to record your information in a table. So you also need to draw this table. So once you've done it, you could see that this top line here refers to the sides from the diagram here, which are A is 3 centimeters and B is 4 centimeters. And when you've measured with a ruler the final side C, you can put your measurement in there. So what I want you to do now then is pause the video, and I want you to draw all 4 shapes, triangles exactly, measure the missing side, and put the information in the table. When you've done, press play and we can continue. Welcome back then. So just to point out then at this stage, all right, that this side here on this triangle, you should have measured it as 5 centimeters. If we go to this triangle here, so we've got 5 centimeters and the base 12 centimeters. This one here measures 13 centimeters. And for this triangle here with a base of 12 centimeters and a height of 9 centimeters, this length here, C, would have measured 15 centimeters. And for the final triangle here with base 8 and height 6, you should have measured the longest side here as 10 centimeters. Now, by putting that information into this table here, you can see that I've now got some information. Can we see at this stage anything that connects sides A, B, and C together? Now, some of the responses I've had in the past is if you add A and B, so add in 3 and 4 together, that gives me 7. Take away 2 makes 5. But on checking the second triangle here, I add 6 and 8 together, it makes 14. If I take away 2, it doesn't get me 10. So there's no real connection between A, B, and C that works for each triangle. So now what I want you to do is I want you to now add to your table. Okay? And what I want you to do is add 3 extra columns, and I want you to call them A squared, B squared, and C squared. What we're going to do is we're going to square for each of our triangles the sides. So here, where I've got A is 3, to work out A squared here, I'm going to do 3 squared. 3 times 3 makes 9. B is 4. And in here, I am going to work out 4 squared. 4 times 4 is 16. And finally, C, we measured as 5 centimeters. And I'm going to work out what 5 squared is. And 5 times 5 is 25. Now I want you to fill in the rest of the table with the other missing values for A squared, B squared, and C squared for each triangle. And when you've done that, I want you to see if you can come up with a rule. So pause the video, and then when you're ready, press play, and we can see where it takes us. Okay, welcome back then. So hopefully now you have filled in the rest of your table. So 6 squared is 36, 8 squared is 64, 10 squared is 100, and we got 5 squared 25, 12 squared 144, 13 squared 169, 9 squared 81, 12 squared 844, and 15 squared is 225. So at this stage now, I am going to ignore this part of the table because it wasn't really very helpful to us. And I'm just going to focus now on this part now. My A squared plus C squared, A squared, B squared, and C squared. Did you discover that if you saw 9 add 16, it equaled 25? Let's check it on the next one. 36 add 64 does equal 100. 25 add 144 again does equal 169. And finally, 81 add 144 does equal 225. So if we add the values in the A squared and B squared column, they actually equal the value in C squared. Well done if you spotted that. Okay, just to make a note on this then. All right, so for any right angle triangle, remember we label the 3 sides A, B, and C. C is called the hypotenuse. It's always the longest side, and A and B are the 2 shorter sides. I usually put B at the bottom because it's the base, but it doesn't have to be that way. So it is true then that in any right angle triangle, that A squared plus the B squared will always be equal to C squared. This is one of the most important formulas in maths, and it's called Pythagoras' theorem because a famous mathematician called Pythagoras discovered this rule for right angle triangles. So just as a final check for today's lesson then, in this right angle triangle, I do not know the length x, but now we're getting to the stage where drawing this triangle accurately becomes even more difficult because the lengths are so big that you would need probably an A3 piece of paper to draw it on. So it's just a little bit ridiculous to want to draw this one accurately. So let's just see what we've discovered today. We know that this longest side here is called C. I'm going to call the base of the triangle B, and I'm going to call this length, the height of the triangle, 40 centimeters A. And just as a reminder, A squared plus B squared always equals C squared in a right angle triangle. And what I want you to do, I want you to pause the video and I want you to have a go at this question and try and calculate the size of x. When you're ready, press play to see the solution. Welcome back then for the final time. So what we need to do now is we have got B is 30 and A is 40. That's the information I can clearly see from the diagram. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that information in for the A squared and B squared in this rule. So A is 40, so I need to be able to work out 40 squared. B is 30, so I'm going to need to be able to work out 30 squared. And when I work out those, it's going to give me what X is, but squared. Remember, all the sides need to be squared for this rule to work. Now, you can use a calculator on this one if you're not confident. 40 squared means I'm going to be doing 40 times 40. So 4 times 4 is 16. And the 2 zeros for both 40s makes 1,600. 30 squared means I need to calculate 30 times 30. So in this case, 3 times 3 is 9, plus the 2 zeros for each 30 makes 900. And that will give me an answer equal to the X squared. Now, I can see that I can add together here 1,600 and 900, which would give me a total of 2,500. Now, that is what X squared is equal to, not X. So, if we square a number, we get to 2,500. That's what we're trying to find. So, how do I get back to the number I originally have for this length? Well, to undo something squared, you need to find the square root of it. So in this case, to find X, I need to square root 2,500. That's not straightforward at this stage, so you may use a calculator to find the square root of 2,500. So type that on your calculator. It tells us on a calculator that that is equal to 50. So we know that the length on this diagram for X is 50. So X is equal to 50 and the length is 50 centimeters. I hope this video has been really informative for you. Thank you very much for listening. Stay safe and good luck.